What is going on, everybody? This is your boy Juggernaut 097 back here with another Juggernaut retro review. And this is episode number 25 of Juggernaut Retro Reviews. And on this episode, I am continuing doing my Backlash Retro pay-per-view reviews. And we are reviewing Backlash 2002. This show was held on April 21st, 2002. And this show was held in Kansas City, Missouri, which I think this is like one of the first pay-per-views to be back in Kansas City, Missouri ever since the Owen Hart death that happened in 99, I think. Yeah. So I think this was the first pay-per-view that to be back in Kansas City. But before we get started with this review, go follow me on all my social media platforms. Go follow me on Twitter at TheTrueJSB. Go follow me on Instagram, TheTrueJSB. Add me on Snapchat if you want. All my links will be down in the description below. And also, if this is your first time ever checking out one of my videos, please smash that subscribe button. That would really help me out a lot. And also, if you haven't checked out my last video, I did my retro review for Backlash 2001, so you guys can go check that. It's probably up in the cards, like up in the right-hand corner, somewhere up there. So you guys can go check out the 2001 review if you haven't checked that out yet. But yeah, on this episode, we are going to be reviewing Backlash 2002. So this show was, this was coming off the heels of WrestleMania 18. And there was a lot of things changing in 2002. I mean, now I think this was kind of one of the weaker pay-per-views of 2002. I mean, I'm not saying this was like the worst Backlash ever, but this is kind of up there. But it's not the worst one though, in my opinion. But I thought this was alright. I mean, there were some good matches on here. There were some matches I didn't really care about. But overall, like, 2002 had a lot of crazy things going on, like, especially with the main title picture changing hands so much. Which, we'll talk about that when we get into this review more. But, I mean, 2002 was pretty an interesting year for WWE, or WWF/WWE at this time. But let's quit wasting time and let's get started with this review. So, the show kicked off with a WWF Cruiserweight Championship match. We had Tajiri with Torrie Wilson going up against Billy Kidman, which Billy Kidman was the Cruiserweight champion at this time. I thought this match was an alright match. I mean, you had Tajiri, as the, heel in this match. And, of course, Torrie Wilson was with Tajiri. And what made Tajiri really so much of a heel, like how he dressed up Torrie Wilson here. Like he dressed her up as, like like a Japanese lady, like how they wear those robes and stuff, because Torrie Wilson, she's a really good looking lady. And, they wouldn't let her, show off her, beautiful body and stuff. So that just made people boo Tajiri so much more. But no, this was actually a pretty good match here. I really enjoyed this. Both guys worked really well together. I mean, Billy Kidman, guy from WCW, he had great in-ring work here. So I thought this was a pretty good match. But Tajiri did end up winning the Cruiserweight Championship when he spit in the face. Like he did, Tajiri was doing mist in the face of people, as a heel and stuff. So yeah, he spit mist into the face of Billy Kidman, and then Tajiri rolled him up for the 1, 2, 3. And then after the match, even the promos that Tajiri cut, he cut them in Japanese and stuff, So that just made people couldn't understand. They go like, what, that just made him more much of a heel. Because I remember Michael Cole was interviewing him after this match here. So, he was both these guys worked really well together. Billy Kidman, the great high-flying work, great, these guys, this is probably one of the best matches on this show. But there's one match I think that's better than this. But it was a good match nonetheless. And then the next match we had was Scott Hall with X-Pac going up against Bradshaw and Faarooq was in the corner. So you had the NWO, and then you had the APA here. This match was not good at all. I did not enjoy this. I mean, now a debut coming into like WWF in 2002 that was like terrible was the NWO. Because, I expected this to, like, when NWA came at No Way Out 2002, I expected it to be so much bigger. I mean, Hogan's, it was pretty cool seeing Hogan come back and stuff. But with Scott Hall and, Kevin Nash and stuff, them coming back, it's kind of like, it was kind of the weaker things that happened in 2002, in my opinion. But this match was really not good at all. And, I mean, Scott Hall did end up winning. He low-blowed Bradshaw here to get the 1, 2, 3. I mean, this match was whatever. And you had X-Pac, running around with Kane's mask. Because they did a beat up on Kane, before the show and stuff. The NWO did. And, X-Pac stole his mask and stuff. So that's pretty interesting what happened with that. But, yeah, I mean, we would see Bradshaw kind of come into himself, later on during his career. I mean, he was still trying to find his, right character at this time. I don't think Bradshaw found his correct character and stuff. And also, this crowd was, very much pro-face crowd. I mean, they booed, all the heels here. And, of course, Kansas City, Missouri, they're known for being a face crowd. But, yeah, they were booing the hell out of the, NWO, Scott Hall, and X-Pac here. But, until Bradshaw, kind of came into himself, 05 and stuff, back when he became JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. Yeah, I don't think Bradshaw really was kind of himself right now. He was just trying to figure out himself, figure out his character and stuff. But I mean, like I said, the weakest match of the night. Two big guys, really slow match. Well, it wasn't my type of match here. And then the next match we had was the WWF Women's Championship on the line. We had Jazz defend the title against Trish Stratus. And before this match, we had Trish Stratus came out, and then it was Molly Holly. She came out, and she was kind of upset on she was calling Trish Stratus fake and all that, and she has fake boobs, fake everything, she's just fake altogether. And Trish Stratus is this better looking woman here. And she and Molly Holly is jealous of that. And she was a heel here and stuff. Molly Holly was. But no, she was upset that Trish Stratus beat her on Raw to become the number 1 contender for the title. She go you cheated, but Molly Holly tried cheating. She tried grabbing the tights of Trish Stratus, but Trish Stratus pulled the same move on her. So I mean. Two people could play at that game. But yeah, they kind of brawled for a little bit, and then finally, Jazz came out. They had their match, which this wasn't a bad match even though it was kind of on the shorter side. This wasn't a bad match here. I thought this stuff was pretty good. Jazz did end up retaining this title by the STF here, but I thought this stuff was pretty good though. It wasn't bad. And they would have more good matches in the future here, but this wasn't bad though. I enjoyed it. And a lot of these matches on the show, they were kind of like squash matches, until you get up towards the main event and stuff. But nonetheless, this was a decent match, nothing crazy though. And then the next match we had was Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman going up against Jeff Hardy and Lita. So this whole storyline behind this feud was basically it was between Paul Heyman and Lita. Paul Heyman kind of being that dirty old guy, kind of like the uncle. How he wants to get with, the niece or whatever. It was kind of like that a little bit. Paul Heyman, kind of sniffing Lita's panties and stuff during this time. And, Paul Heyman was in Lita's locker room, sniffing her underwear and stuff. And Paul Heyman was like, well, we can have this two ways. You can either, help me out and, this could be, quick and painless for Jeff Hardy, or we could do this the hard way. And, of course, Lita, she was going to do this the hard way and stuff. And this was Brock Lesnar's first, in-ring debut match. And, at this time, they were calling Brock Lesnar the next big thing and all that. Which we all know the whole stuff with, Stone Cold, how pissed off he was at this time. Because he felt like he had to take the backseat to a lot of guys here around 2002. So, 2002, like I said, it just was a crazy year, on how much stuff was changing in WWF and WWE and stuff. It was crazy how much stuff was changing. If a few things stayed the same, if Stone Cold would have never left, if The Rock would have never left, or Triple H would have stayed champion for a while, things could have ended up differently. And I feel like WWE was just flying by the seat of their pants, they were just changing booking decisions left and right, which they were just crazy. That makes for some good storytelling. That makes good for some good writing, not storytelling. That makes for some good writing. To go okay, so what's going to happen? It's not so predictable. But if a few things changed, that could have changed 2002. For that could have changed. It could have been a different summer for 02. But about this match was all right. Brock Lesnar, he's just powerbombing Jeff Hardy a lot during this match, which the crowd was really behind Jeff Hardy. Like I said, pro face crowd here, they were really behind Jeff Hardy in this match. He's trying to make a little comeback, hit the Whisper in the Wind. He even got near fall hitting the Swanton Bomb, and the crowd was going to erupt because, everybody was, behind Jeff Hardy here. But Brock Lesnar, he was just dominant here, in his in-ring debut. Just powerbombing Jeff Hardy a whole bunch of times, hit him with the F5. It was this crazy match, but Brock Lesnar did end up winning by the referee stoppage. After Hardy gets powerbombed so many times, and that's how Brock Lesnar made his in-ring debut here. And like I said, they're calling him the next big thing. But no, this was all right though, and of course Brock Lesnar would have a big 2002 ahead of him. Which, I kind of see what, Stone Cold was saying and stuff, especially, on his documentary that he was talking about on how, taking the back seat or how he had to take less pay, how he had to take pay cuts and stuff. And so, if Stone Cold never walked out and, I'm kind of happy he did because it could have been, if he never walked out, it could have been a lot different for Stone Cold. He could be, very bitter and stuff. Something bad could happen to Stone Cold. So I'm happy he did walk out in 02. And, of course, 03 came back, to have his, final run, of course, at Mania 19 with The Rock and, that great match that they had at Mania 19, basically final match there. But, no, this was our match here, though. And then the next match we had was Kurt Angle versus Edge. Now, this was a really, really good match. I really enjoyed this. And, this was, around the time when they were doing the whole, brand split. And both these guys got drafted to SmackDown. And also, both of them they both won their WrestleMania matches also. So that was a big thing also. But Kurt Angle, saying that he's the best, nobody could beat him. And then Edge, beat him on a Monday Night Raw. And so, they kind of, I like the promos that they were doing on the build to the show. Edge, he gave him these pictures. And on the back it said, on the back of the pictures it said, you suck and stuff. And Kurt Angle was like, "Yeah, Edge, you're not that bad of a guy," and stuff, So I thought that was funny. And then eventually, Kurt Angle would turn over the pictures, and he was like, "Oh man!" Like he was mad, and he was like, "You know what? We are similar." And they said that they were similar in more than one way and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. But these promos that they were doing, and especially the in-ring matches that they did through 2002, were great. And this was a good match here. I mean, the in-ring chemistry between both guys, and Kurt Angle, he just looked a lot crisper in 02. You look at, 01 and stuff. I mean, he was good in 01, but you look at 02, man, he just looked really good. I like a spot in the match where he hit the belly to belly off the top rope. That was pretty cool by Kurt Angle. I mean, these guys were reversing moves from each other really good, kicking out big finishers and stuff, hit the execution, the angle slam, that's one of my favorite moves in professional wrestling. You saw different counters for different things. I mean, it was a good match. I mean, I thought this part was funny during the match when Kurt Angle brought in a steel chair. And he hit on the ropes, and then he hit himself in the face with the steel chair. I thought that was funny when Kurt Angle did that. It kind of backfired on him. But no, this was a good match here. I mean, Kurt Angle would end up getting the victory by the angle slam here. But no, this was good stuff. And like I said, they would have more good matches in the future here in 02. But probably my favorite match of the night, in my opinion. But yeah, this was good stuff. And then the next match we had was the WWF Intercontinental Championship. On the line, we had Eddy Guerrero, and this was like him coming back and stuff. And he was going up against the reigning champion, Rob Van Dam. The battle of the frog splashes. You had the frog splash and you had the 5-star frog splash with Rob Van Dam. This was a good match and stuff. In 2001, that's when Eddy Guerrero, he got released because I think he had like a DUI, and then he had to go to rehab or whatever. But this was Eddy Guerrero. He kind of was like trying to prove a point, saying, "Hey, I have the better frog splash, better than Rob Van Dam." But this was an alright match here. Rob Van Dam, he hit some pretty good spots in this match where hit the rolling senton. He did a he hung up Eddy Guerrero on the barricade and did the spinning heel kick, or spinning leg drop onto the barricade. I thought that was a pretty cool spot. Eddy Guerrero, he did a really cool sunset flip powerbomb. That I thought that was good during the match, or a nice sunset flip. That was nice during the match. Eddy Guerrero, he brought in the most, lying, cheating, stealing guy here. Dirty Eddy Guerrero here. He brought in the Intercontinental title belt, hit a neck breaker on Rob Van Dam, and then he went up to the top rope, hit the frog splash while Rob Van Dam was laying on the title belt. And then Eddy Guerrero would become the new Intercontinental champion. Basically, saying, hey, Eddy Guerrero is our guy. He's going to lead the future here. But yeah, this was, kind of cementing, making Eddy Guerrero that, guy, the guy, yep, we believe in this guy now. Because I remember, I don't remember, but Eddy Guerrero, he showed up on a Ring of Honor, and he was in great shape. And WWE was like, okay, we need to get Eddy Guerrero back here. And Eddy Guerrero, he was just doing, great stuff in 02. I enjoyed it. And of course, he would do more great stuff. And unfortunately, I wish he was still alive, because man, he probably could still go in the ring to this day if he was still around. But no, this was another fun match here. And then the next match we had was a match to determine the number one contender for the undisputed WWF Championship, and Ric Flair was the special guest referee here. So we had Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And of course, Ric Flair, he was the Raw commissioner, and on SmackDown, Vince McMahon was, the GM. He was the GM of SmackDown. And at this time, Stone Cold, he didn't know which brand he wanted to go to. If he wanted to go to be on Raw with Ric Flair, or if he wanted to be on SmackDown with Vince McMahon. But eventually, Stone Cold did end up picking Monday Night Raw. And, he stunned, right when he came to Raw, he gave Ric Flair the stunner. He gave Ric Flair the stunner here, excuse me. And Vince, made Ric Flair the special guest referee. He was like, I trust that you'll make the right decision here. And, Ric Flair was kind of being like a phony here. He was kind of being like kind of a face, a little bit kind of heel. He didn't know which he was going to side on. Who he was, if he was going to be, cut it down the middle, or if he was going to help somebody out win this match. And I like the interaction between the Undertaker and Ric Flair in this match, or like the promos that they were doing. Like, hey, how about I make a WrestleMania moment for you, because they had, that match at Mania 18. It's like, how about I pull out another Undertaker moment for you? So I like the intimidation factor by the Undertaker in this match. But this was kind of a really slow match, and I'm not the biggest fan of this finisher. I wasn't a fan of this finisher at all. Like, Stone Cold, he brought in a steel chair, and he looks like he was going to use it, but Undertaker hits a big boot, and the chair goes flying to the face of Stone Cold, and Undertaker pins him. And Stone Cold puts his foot on the rope, and Ric Flair's counting it, but he doesn't see that the foot's on the rope, and Undertaker, takes Stone Cold's foot off the rope. And then, until Ric Flair goes backstage, goes like, hey, did you see what happened? Like, I can't remember who was interviewing. Was it Michael Cole? I think it might have been Cole. Or I can't remember who was interviewing him, but was saying, hey, did you see what happened? It was like, check the results of this match, and they showed the, highlight of what happened at the end there. And Ric Flair, he was just, so upset. And, of course, later on, in the series, he would turn heel and stuff, but he was so upset and kind of going like, oh man, he made this big, huge mistake. Screwed Stone Cold Steve Austin here. And, of course, this was kind of Stone Cold's kind of last straw here and stuff, He wanted to take that break and stuff from wrestling, which I don't, blame him and stuff. But no, this was actually an alright match, and Stone Cold, he was getting cheered so much here. I mean, this was the height of, Stone Cold here. He's never been booed or anything. He's always been a fan favorite, even when he was heel, he got cheered so much. And Undertaker, he was kind of acting a little heelish also here. Doing low blows and stuff. But Undertaker did end up becoming the number one contender, like I said. Kind of like a slower match. But when the match actually, during the last part of this match, when it actually picked up. But yeah, what I was saying is when the last half of this match picked up, it was some really good stuff here, and it's kind of weird seeing kind of like a slower style match, especially from Stone Cold. And Stone Cold, he was being, like I said, the crowd was so much behind him here, and every time he was doing kicks in the corner to Undertaker, the crowd was like, what, they every time he was hitting the movie, goes like, what, they always popped for Stone Cold here, and Kansas City just loved Stone Cold also. But no, this was a alright match, except for the ending. Like I said, I was not a fan of the ending, and there was a lot of matches on the show that had some weird endings. Especially in the main event also. But the next match we had was the WWF Tag Team Championships on the line. We had Billy and Chuck with Rico defending the titles against Al Snow and Maven. Which, of course, Maven, he was a tough enough winner from this year. And, Al Snow was his coach and stuff. So, they became a tag team here. I don't remember much from this match. I remember the results with Billy and Chuck winning this match, but that's all I remember really much from this match. Chuck Palumbo, he's more of a WCW guy, so I'm kind of happy they, made him a tag team with Billy Gunn here. So I hated their theme song when they came out too. I was not a fan of this at all. And, the type of gimmick that they were doing, it was just kind of weird. I wasn't a fan of this at all. But I'm happy what they were kind of like doing different with Chuck Palumbo here. But it was an alright match, nothing crazy here. It was just kind of a breather from the match before with the Undertaker and Stone Cold. And then in the main event, we had the undisputed WWF Championship on the line. We had Triple H defending the title against Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Which, before this, earlier in the night, we had Chris Jericho come out, and he was kind of, bitter about that, that he wasn't getting a rematch since, he was like, hey, he was in the main event at WrestleMania 18, and he's not going to get a rematch. And he said, I'm sorry to break it to all you Hulkamaniacs out there, but Hulk Hogan's not going to win this match. Chris Jericho was bitter and stuff, and we already knew the whole situation with Stone Cold. Him, not being happy with his placement on the card, and not being happy with the money that he was getting, and the type of situations that he was being put in. Having to lose to some guys and stuff, like especially when Brock Lesnar and stuff. It was like, okay, so why are you making me lose? Stone Cold didn't mind losing to people, but he didn't mind losing to people if there was a good story behind it. But if you just go lose to somebody random and like not do it on a pay-per-view, it just doesn't make sense. So I understand Stone Cold's frustration, being upset with the writing team, being upset with his card placement. And of course, The Rock, he would come back later on, at the summer of 2002. But no, about this match. This match was, this was kind of one of the worst Hogan matches ever since he returned. I like the Mania 18 match, but this was kind of a bad match. Really a powerhouse match, and if there's anybody that can kind of overpower, Hulk Hogan here, it's Triple H. These guys are pretty even, and, Hogan overpowered Triple H also. Triple H being that big bad heel he was. He wanted to get a whole bunch of hate on him also. Triple H did. I'm surprised Hollywood Hogan here, he was getting good reaction and stuff because, after turning his back, went to WCW, I was surprised that he was, kind of getting cheered here and stuff. But no, this was kind of like a really slow match here. Triple H, is very methodical. Triple H worked on Hollywood Hogan's leg, a lot of sleeper holds. Of course, and then during the match we had Jericho come out. He tried costing Hogan the match. He didn't want Hogan to win because part-timer old guy coming back. And of course we had Undertaker. He came out because he beat Hulk Hogan at it was Survivor Series 91. So he knew he could beat Hulk Hogan. Which, of course, Undertaker was the number one contender at the next pay-per-view, Judgment Day, 2002. Which, that'll be when, this was the last pay-per-view with it being called WWF because, the whole stuff with the World Wildlife Foundation. So this was the last WWF pay-per-view before they became WWE in 2002, which the whole slogan was saying, get the F out, which, still being like ruthless aggression and all that. This was kind of the transition to the ruthless aggression. But like I said, this was kind of this wasn't the best Hogan match here. And a lot of shenanigans in this match. We had Taker come out. He clocked Triple H with a steel chair. And of course, Chris Jericho clocked Hollywood Hogan with a chair and stuff. And Triple H even gave Jericho a pedigree, and just a lot of crazy stuff happening. But like I said, not Hogan, Undertaker would come out, clock him with the chair, and clock Triple H with the chair, and then Hogan would hit the leg drop to get the 1, 2, 3, and the new undisputed WWF champion was Hollywood Hogan, which. Of course, at the next show we would have Hollywood Hogan and The Undertaker face off, which there a lot in 2002, we had a lot of, there was like so many guys who was going for this title. I mean, we had, Triple H up there. We had, Hogan up there. We had Undertaker. We had The Rock, and then of course, Brock Lesnar wins that SummerSlam. So if a few things would have changed in 2002, like, because I heard that kind of their plan was to keep Triple H as the champion throughout like the whole year and stuff. So if he was still champion throughout the summertime, would Brock Lesnar won the title, or if Stone Cold would have stayed around with The Rock? 2002 could have been a whole completely different year. But I like that they were kind of doing some of this stuff here. Changing on the fly and stuff, and it made for some really good competition. Made the title feel really important here. Because you had Jericho winning the title. After losing it, you had Taker up there. You had Stone Cold, like I said, he was upset with his position on the show. You even had Kurt Angle up there. Of course, Brock Lesnar being the next big thing. I mean, this was some interesting stuff that was going into the summer of 2002. And being off the heels of WrestleMania 17. I mean, not 17, 18. Sorry. But yeah, that was my Backlash 2002 review. I think it was quite a long review, to be honest. But go down in the comments, tell me what you thought of this show. Did you like this show? Or if you haven't watched it, I recommend go check it out. It's not bad. I'll say the best match on this show was probably the match between Kurt Angle and Edge. That's just a great match. I mean, both these guys have like really improved throughout the years and stuff, and you really see it in this match here. But yeah, that's it for this episode of Juggernaut Retro Reviews, and I'll catch you guys on my next video, which is probably going to be, I think I might do a watch along for Backlash 2003. I might do that, so stay tuned for that. But this is your boy Juggernaut saying peace out, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.